Hello, everyone. I'm here with Austin Pope from the Diamondbacks, my fellow New Yorker here. Played 3 years at Fairfield, posted some pretty awesome numbers, 157 innings, 155 Ks. He was drafted 15th in the 15th round in 2019. So, Austin, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Enjoying California right now.
I would kill to be in California, man. It's not that hot over here yet in New York, but you know New York weather.
Yeah, I'm sure it's probably. I've talked to my family. It's like 70s right now, right?
Yeah, 70s, but Long Island's got the wind chill, man.
I know it.
Yeah.
I know it.
So, Austin, when did you realize that baseball could possibly become your career?
I mean, I've obviously always dreamt about it, but some things started to really click. I would say my sophomore year of college. I mean, I was never really a prospect in high school. I mean, I only got one D1 offer, and it was to Fairfield, and it was just a roster spot. It wasn't any money or anything like that. And I kind of had to choose. I'm pretty young for my grade too, so I could have redone another year in high school. Mm-hmm. So I was basically choosing between another year of high school or go to Fairfield, and I was like, oh, no, I'm going to college. I think Fairfield's right for me. Things kind of worked out. I mean, in high school, I was probably like 84, 85. Mm-hmm. Not much there. I think Coach Currier saw some things in me and came in freshman year, started throwing a little harder. But I mean, only had 2 pitches, couldn't really pitch, had no running game, couldn't hold on runner, nothing. I was just kind of a thrower. And then throughout that freshman year, I got some weekday starts and really started to learn some things. Played summer ball up in Pittsfield. And then when I came back sophomore year, I just felt like so much more confident, and everything kind of clicked. And then once I got a 2-week temp with the Cape, that's when things kind of really took off.
Did you enjoy your time in the Cape, though?
I loved it. A lot of fun. It was a really good time. I still play. I'm playing with 3 of my teammates that I had at Bourne, and I'm playing against guys that I see all the time. So it's interesting to see where everyone kind of landed after that summer.
Like some friendly faces along the road, so it's not like you're like out there in the minor leagues all by yourself. So that's good to hear, though.
Yeah. I have. I'm actually living with Lyle Lynn. He's a catcher for us. So I play with him at Bourne. And then Spencer Brickhouse is up at Hillsborough. He was at Bourne. And then I'm also playing with Danny Orianti, who was also at Bourne. Yeah, so definitely got some friendly faces.
Did you have anyone from Fairfield with you in the Cape?
No, I was the only one. I think I was the only one in a couple of years. I know some guys have some temp contracts, but I was actually the only one to kind of stay the whole summer.
So you earned every inch of your draft spot. That's really cool to hear that anyone can go out and go do it,
And I'm still fighting.
Still fighting, yeah. Over your 3 years at Fairfield, did you enjoy those 3 years?
It was awesome. It was probably the best 3 years I've ever had. I mean, it was an amazing experience. I mean, it made me grow up as a person. Coaches, I mean, helped me a ton. They taught me so much, and I had some really great experiences there.
Draft day 2019, you're picked 15th round, 452nd overall. What were your emotions like? Who were you with? Were you with your family, friends?
Yeah, I had my very close family. I didn't want to have, like, some people were saying I'll do a party. I was like, first of all, if you don't get picked, that is like the worst look ever. So I'm not doing that. Close family only. No one's allowed at the house. So it was very close. And when we got the call, it was, I mean, a lot of nerves and a lot of emotions coming through, but it was definitely exciting.
Awesome. Were there like any other major league teams that you were in contact with? Did like the Diamondbacks reach out to you? Like, what was that whole process like for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely interesting. I mean, I from a small school, I had only one other person that was kind of close to me get drafted. I mean, obviously in the Cape, you hear some stories, but I mean, they don't really tell you what the process is like. So going through it was definitely new. But when I was a freshman, there was a junior, Gavin Wallace, who was with Fairfield, and he got drafted also in the 15th round. So I heard some things from him and kind of got the process a little bit down. But I mean, everything kind of really took off at Bourne, and started talking to some teams, and they made me fill out some questionnaires, and had to go through that whole process of I'm forgetting the name of it. I should know it because I went on the website like 100 times, but you basically got to go on this website and answer all these different questions and questionnaires that they give you. And then just talking to different teams and then picking my brain, and I was picking their brain. So kind of back and forth in a relationship. There was definitely a couple teams during the actual draft process that were kind of reaching out saying, hey, we're thinking this, we're thinking that. But in the end, it was the Diamondbacks. So
awesome. Have you enjoyed your 2 years thus far? I know like you got the 1 year with COVID, kind of canceling that. So yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I love everything about the Arizona Diamondbacks. They've helped me so much. And I'm not just saying that because I'm in the organization. They actually did. I mean, I've heard some horror stories of some other teams and some other stories. But I mean, from like a developmental standpoint, I like the way they run things. I think it's a great system and a great organization. They're pretty open to a lot of different ideas. I know, for example, like a lot, some teams will say like, you're not allowed to lift, or you're not allowed to do weighted ball program, or you have to do this program. That they're pretty open on saying, hey, look, if you have a plan, we want to talk to you and understand like why you have that plan, where you got it from. Are you throwing weighted balls because you saw Trevor Bauer do it and he throws hard, or is it actually for you? If it is for you and you have a plan and a reasoning for everything, then we'll stand by it. We'll help you all the way. And if not, if you don't have a plan, if you want to look for a plan, then come to us and we'll have a discussion. And that goes across the board from, I mean, in terms of, I mean, the amount of stuff I've learned in the past 2 years is pretty crazy, from sleep to hydration to nutrition to pitching and stats and little things between pitch grips and all the crazy stuff that you can't even think about. Yeah, they've done a really good job.
That's pretty awesome. I mean, I've heard like they're getting beyond into analytical stuff. The most of those NL Central teams, no, NL West teams out there, especially now that Bauer's over there, they're starting to even get more into that division with analytics. So that should be interesting to see how it's going to grow the game. But
yeah, I mean, I personally, sorry to cut you off, you're breaking up a little bit.
Oh no, you go.
No, let's go.
I meant like thus far. I mean, in your 2 years, like what has been like your coolest moment thus far? I mean, besides like you getting drafted and that whole process with the Diamondbacks.
Yeah. So after the draft, I was in Arizona for a couple of weeks, and then kind of getting on their program and throwing program and getting used to a 5-day rotation. And then I went to Missoula, Montana. I played the summer there. Like I said, went back to school, did my thing, and then came back for spring training. This is like the COVID year. So I was in spring training, and I'm throwing a bullpen. It was like one of my first bullpens when I got back. And every single bullpen, they actually have a track man. Anytime I step foot on a mound, there's a track man tracking me. And there's a person with an iPad basically showing you the statistics. And I can ask like, oh, I felt this, felt that, right? So throwing a bullpen. And I kind of just heard a voice behind me say like, oh, try this. So I was like, all right. I didn't even look behind me. And I was like, all right, I threw a pitch. And it was like, oh, that was really good. I think I tried doing this. Okay, did it. It went on for about 20 pitches.
You're just locked in.
Locked in. I didn't turn around once. I was just getting the ball on the mound, do it again. I was just listening to the voice. Finished my bullpen. I go like shake the catcher's hand, and I turn around. I was like, oh my God, it's Randy Johnson.
That's nuts.
Like, okay, hi, nice to meet you. Yeah, it was definitely awesome. And it was weird because again, I didn't even turn around. I threw 25 pitches. And when I was walking back to the mound, I was like, oh, that's who it was talking about. So that was definitely cool. So definitely getting to talk to him. He's around the complex a lot. So getting to pick his brain, I mean, and where that he tells it is awesome.
I mean, like my next question was like biggest piece of advice. I'm pretty sure he got some pretty awesome advice from the big unit, former Diamondback himself, that must be really awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. He definitely told some stories that helped a lot in terms of mentality and some pitching stuff and kind of across the board. He talked about how people kind of feared him and kind of like where that came from and kind of diving into that a little bit. It was definitely awesome to talk to.
Awesome. Did you get to pick any brains of like any current major leaguers that have you run into cross paths with over the past 2 years or?
Current major leaguers. I wouldn't say current major leaguers. There's some people back home that have definitely come encounter with some big leaguers and some guys are some pretty high prospects that I've talked to. And they're kind of very close. There were some people back home that I was training with that that were kind of in the league and kind of bouncing in and out. But in terms of the Diamondbacks, not really. My pitching coach here is Barry Enright. I mean, I've been here for about 2 weeks and I've learned so much from him in the past 2 weeks. And he was a big leaguer. But for currently, not really.
Currently, not really. Awesome. I mean, it's 2021, second year. I mean, how are you feeling thus far this season?
Feeling pretty good. Obviously, stepping away from the game for a year and a half is kind of tough to come back and just get right back into it. Some of the mentality things I'm kind of getting used to again. Just kind of being like on all the time. That's one thing I'm getting back to. But I mean, body feels great. I'm ready to go. And hopefully, we get the full 120 games in.
Oh yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, and it'll be a hot one out there for you guys.
Yeah. It's only getting hotter too. It's about, I want to say it's like 95 right now. Some of the days are a little lighter. Some are pretty hot, but I heard it's going to get to like 110-ish at one point. So that's interesting.
Wow. Okay. Now I got some fun questions for you, but
yeah.
Last year during quarantine, besides working out and staying active for baseball, I mean, did you pick up any hobbies? Did you get into anything fun or?
I mean, in New York, I mean, you know it. At one point, it was really bad.
Yeah.
It was like, can't leave your house. Everyone was scared. I wasn't necessarily scared, but definitely spent a lot of time at home. I mean, I got kicked off so many fields. I mean, that's the baseball end of it. But I mean, a lot of Warzone was played. That one, a lot of Warzone was played. But really, just enjoying the family time. I kind of got the understanding about kind of what pro ball was and how you're going to be away for 7 months a year. And having the opportunity to kind of be home for a year was great. I mean, I haven't had a summer home in a while. So to kind of be home for that, it was kind of cool. But I would just say, I mean, really hanging out with family.
Awesome. I mean, yeah. It brings families closer, tough times, but it overall, I think it's brought a lot of people closer to you learn new things every day now with your family,
Yeah. My brother was also working down in Florida and he got to move back too. So the whole family, it was like the first time my whole family was really like all together. So, I mean, we were really enjoying it for the time being.
Who has been your favorite? Who's your favorite MLB player currently, and who did you grow up idolizing, or modeling your style after?
Favorite MLB player currently? There's a lot of good guys out there right now. It's a hard question. I mean, I'm constantly on like social media, following guys and watching their game. And I mean, there's so much information out there, like Pitching Ninja, for example.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's 100 videos posted every single day. So to kind of look at those guys, it's hard to pick one. I mean, you gotta love Grom, especially from New York. He's the best. I mean, his stuff is crazy, and just the way he goes about his business and kind of goes out there every single time and is that dominant. I would say he's probably the one I look at the most. And then, I mean, growing up from I was like 20-25 minutes from Yankee Stadium. So, I mean, Derek Jeter growing up was like my idol. Like he was a god at that point.
Oh, yeah. Same here.
Yeah. Growing up, Derek Jeter in New York, there was no one else.
They're like, yeah. Yeah, like I'm sorry, like even Met fans like idolize Derek Jeter too. Like just
Yeah.
growing up as a baseball player, you gotta like him.
Yeah. I definitely grew up in New York during a good era of baseball. I mean, even from a pitching staff with like Andy Pettit, Roger Clement. I mean, some of the guys I had were insane. So I was definitely lucky to grow up where I was at the time.
Who do you think is the face of baseball right now?
Hmm.
I know you said the Grom, like there are guys like Cole, is it the silent Mike Trout? Is it like a Fernando Tatis? I know he hasn't been putting up the numbers lately, but
Yeah, I mean, Tatis, he's an electric player. I would say some of the stuff he's done is pretty insane, and is definitely standing out in baseball. For whatever reason, it kind of got away from Mike Trout. I don't know how, but I mean, that guy is insane also.
Like another category, like he's just above the face of baseball. Like he's just great.
Yeah. It's weird how again, hopefully this changes, and I'm going to do everything I can to make it change. But it's weird how some guys in MLB could be the top players in the world and walk into any coffee shop in the U.S. and like sometimes like they're not even going to be noticed.
Yeah,
it's very weird. Versus like LeBron James. If LeBron James walks in anywhere, he's going to be noticed right away. So it's kind of different. I mean, obviously you have Mike Trout, you got like Tatis, like you said. In New York right now, I would say Cole. I mean, Judge is obviously a big player. I wouldn't say there's like one face though. It's kind of where, you know what I mean? It's kind of where you are in the country is kind of dependent on who you're looking at.
Like region wise kind of thing,
Yeah.
Like there's the Acuna, the Soto, all those guys. I think it's gonna be I'd say after this year we'll figure out which one of the young guns are gonna be the next like top face of baseball. But I think it's like the MLB The Show curse.
Some people have talked about that. Yeah, I mean, I think this year's definitely gonna be interesting. I mean, we're already kind of seeing it. I mean, especially with the Dbacks and some other teams. There's a lot of guys in the IL right now. I mean, coming into the year, I kind of understood if you're playing decently and you're staying healthy the whole year, I think you're gonna have a pretty good year. There's a ton of guys that are getting hurt, so I mean, crossing my fingers, knock on wood, nothing happens, and just trying to stay healthy throughout the year. And I think that the same goes with those guys. I mean, if they can stay healthy and play to their ability, I think they're going to have a really good year.
Oh yeah, it's just like being consistent and getting back into the flow of things, and it's going to be the team that has the most health and the greatest consistency this far.
Yeah, 100%.
Two more questions for you, and then I'll let you go. Your go-to glove company.
Go-to glove company. I've been going with Rawlings. Rawlings. I use them in college. I got a couple 44s. I like them. I think they're all right. I don't know. There's something about Wilson. I don't know if you're sponsored by Wilson or anything like that, but there's something about Wilson that didn't really feel too right. So Rawlings is my go-to.
You guys are sponsored by them, or? No,
we're not. I'm not personally here. I've kind of tried a couple gloves over the years, but I don't know. Something about me growing up. I've always kind of liked gloves, and I was into them. Obviously, playing baseball, I have a ton of them back home. There was something about like the smell of just the Pro Preferred that kind of hits home. I don't know. It just smells like baseball to me.
It's different, the Pro Preferred smell.
Yeah.
I know that. Last question. What's the biggest piece of advice for someone chasing their dream? Because I know you've been through a lot.
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing. It's gonna sound a little cliche, but I mean, it really is hard work. Again, for me personally, that's been the only thing kind of keeping me in the game. Is just kind of that mentality of like, I'm gonna outwork everyone. If you want something, you're gonna work for it. And just keep it fun. I mean, baseball for me, lucky I'm playing a game. I'm getting paid and playing a game for my life. So it's definitely it can turn into a job sometimes, and kind of just really back in and say, no, this is 100% what I want to do. Like, there's no doubt about it. But I would say hard work. Just put in the hours. You know what I mean? There's going to be people that are, I mean, tons and tons and tons and tons of kids are dreaming to be in my position right now. And I did from when I was a very little kid. So I don't want to live life and go through things and be older and have some regrets about what I did or what I didn't do. I'm just going to give it my all and see where it takes me.
It's got to go all in, and your dream will come true, my man.
Go all in, 100%.
Well, Austin, thank you for joining us. I think we're on like episode 7 here. You're one of the first 10, so this is pretty awesome. I'll be posting this tonight. Thank you for joining me. We wish you a ton of luck this year, and we'll be in touch. Thank you, my man. Later.